Tonight, on the world's most amazing videos, a high-speed racer hits the wall. Plus, a hot air balloon mows down a crowd, then violently ejects a pilot. And a base jumper's record-setting dive meets with disaster. Then, a 100-mile-an-hour wheelie turns into a full-throttle smash-up. And a jumbo jet loaded with fuel makes a daring landing with no wheels. These are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people, real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The Petronas Towers, the tallest pair of buildings in the world. The perfect location for the World Base Jumping Championship. Daredevils line up to cheat death in risky free falls into the city. Pierre Pascal is ready to outdo them all if he can just stick the landing. This jump could win the title. But his visions of glory are about to be shattered. Pierre is dropping at 20 feet a second when an updraft smashes him into the building. The camera on his helmet captures the punishing shot to his head. If he's knocked out, he could crash again.
Back away, out of the way. Hey, sir, out of the way.
No one is sure how he'll land or how badly he's hurt.
I was incredibly lucky to walk away from that jump. I had a slight cut to my forehead.
Pierre slams the tower so hard that he shatters the protective glass. Fortunately, he remains conscious, and he's able to control his descent.
I think you busted the glass, though. Seriously. Huh? Seriously. I saw a big spider crack when you hit. Oops.
If the parachute had collapsed, I would have fallen around about 800 feet, which would have been up to about 80 miles per hour. And I would have died. There's no two ways about it. I kicked the world's tallest building, and I survived.
The Isle of Man. The annual tourist trophy motorcycle race gets underway. Richard Quayle rockets off the starting line. He's a fierce competitor, pushing the envelope at over 170 miles an hour. Richard screams into a turn when suddenly racing out of the curve, Richard's hands come off the bike. The motorcycle's a wreck. But the camera mounted on its windshield survives. This is what Richard sees on his road to ruin. On that final curve, he slides too far to the left and brushes the wall. It's only a tap, but he loses his grip. Watching Richard's flight in slow motion, it's astonishing he survives with only a bruised lung. At the hospital, he decides to retire from racing. Richard knows that brush against the wall was also a brush with death. Santiago, Chile. There's trouble on the soccer field. And his name is Juan Carreno. Juan's furious at the refs giving the other team a free kick, so he sneaks in his own kick. And an opponent. It's a cheap shot from behind. That's it. Juan's kicked out. But the hot-tempered Chilean is still itching for a fight. He lands a 1-2 punch that flattens the goalie. And all hell breaks loose. Now it's Juan's turn to take a beating. Referees are helpless. So riot police take charge. This time, Juan has walked all the way off the field and straight to jail. It's a fitting penalty for a very sore loser. Vernon, New York. Many sprint cars race around the track. The spoilers atop these featherlight racers should prevent them from taking flight. But nothing can stop this. The collision launches a car into a flag stand. Two track officials are directly in its path.
I knew I had to get out of there right away or else we would have been dead.
The next thing I know, Matt's yanking me off the flag stand and we're hitting the ground. And that's when all hell broke loose.
The two fall to the ground, rocked by the concussive impact. The driver flips 3 times before crashing into the tower. And then he walks away. The steel railing also saves the lives of dozens of spectators.
We could have probably lost 4 to 5 people alone just in the front row. And heaven knows where the car would have stopped. If it had went further up, it could have been 15 to 20 people dead.
Coming up, a rider gets bucked and buried beneath 1,000 pounds of bull. Then, a young skier hangs by his neck when he slips off a chairlift. But first, cops lay down the spikes, but a renegade refuses to stop. When the world's most amazing videos continues.
Fort Hall, Idaho. State troopers prepare to stop a fugitive on a wet stretch of highway. The assault suspect is speeding their way, but they believe he's still a few miles off and that they have time to spare. Trooper Matt Manning tosses spike strips across both lanes, hoping to shred the suspect's tires. Then he notices something. The getaway van is a lot closer than he thought, and it's headed right for him. The van tries to avoid the spikes and smashes the patrol car. Trooper Manning makes a narrow escape. He jumps clear seconds before his cruiser is pulverized. The banged-up suspect is arrested. Trooper Manning will need a new cruiser, but it's a small price to pay for surviving this bust in one piece. Warwick, Rhode Island. Rick Robinson works the counter at his convenience store.
I was reading the paper, drinking a cup of coffee, and this man came in. He had asked me for change.
But then, the man whips out a crowbar. He lunges at Rick and dives for the cash drawer. But Rick comes back swinging with an aluminum baseball bat.
He caught me right in the chin. He had put a hole in my chin requiring 6 stitches.
The robber thought he'd scare the clerk, grab the cash, and run. But when the crowbar comes out, Rick shuts the drawer.
In that split second, it gave me the time to reach down and grab the bat.
Rick's in a fight for his life.
This guy's gonna get me. This guy's out to hurt me. You know what I mean? That's when I knew that I had to defend myself even harder. I mean, it was last man standing because this guy was not gonna give up.
Rick strikes back and breaks the crook's arm. The man flees. Rick is hot on his heels.
You know, for a second now, I'm saying, thank God this guy's gone. You know what I mean? It's like you feel like your life was just given back to you. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't let this guy get away with it.
In agonizing pain, the man gives up and jumps in his car.
I broke both passenger side windows and the rear window.
It's not long before cops spot a getaway car with smashed windows. The robber is arrested. And Rick learns a valuable lesson. It pays to be prepared. Park City, Utah.
Oh my gosh, this kid.
A terrifying scene at a ski resort.
Stop struggling.
12-year-old Anthony Trabert is hanging from a chairlift. The strap from his backpack is wrapped around his neck.
His backpack is stuck.
Every second, the noose tightens a bit more. His heavy ski boots only add to the weight. Anthony is being strangled. Resort workers are helpless as he dangles 30 feet from the ground. Anthony struggles to get loose. The boy dangles for 3 long minutes.
If he drops, he'll yank the snow.
His life is being choked away. And then, finally, the ski patrol races over to find any sign of life and save him if they can. Luckily, they do.
I remember waking up like 5 minutes later with a neck brace on, an oxygen mask on, and blood all around me.
The trouble begins when Anthony's backpack gets caught and keeps him from getting off the lift.
Then he yanked me back and started dragging me around the turnstile. I think that's where I got the clue I was really in trouble.
A worker stops the chairs, but he can't get to Anthony. It's up to the boy to free himself.
The pressure was so tight on my neck that I couldn't unbuckle it, and I was very scared. At the same time, I was thinking that I was going to die.
When Anthony loses his helmet, he saves his life.
I was thinking that if I unbuckled it, I would be able to slip my head through. That worked, I guess, because I woke up on the ground. Well, I feel really lucky to be alive because I just realized how close I was to being dead.
Most incredibly, Anthony is back skiing a week later after surviving the ultimate terror on the slopes.
Coming up, a student tries to fly a balloon and gets taken on a hell ride. Then, a fugitive's reckless run from the law lands him in deep trouble. And later, a souped-up speedster goes belly up and somersaults down the asphalt. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Orange County, California. The Gordon Bennett Balloon Race. It features an air show, even a canine demonstration. But the main attraction is massive hot air balloons. The pilot prepares Brian Fitzgerald and other trainees for their first launch. But gusty winds are causing problems.
In order to get a hot air balloon into the air under windy conditions, you really have to get the envelope quite hot. And that means a lot of people holding down the balloon for a long time and then letting it go when it's ready so it can pop up in the air.
Brian and his fellow trainee are filling the balloon with hot air. When suddenly,
Oh my God!
the basket barrels through the crowd and across the top of a hangar. Brian is thrown out. But the other trainee is still on board, terrified and alone.
Somebody in the crowd said, "Let go," too early, and it wasn't the pilot, and the balloon took off cold. It started to bounce through this crowd of people, and I remember just seeing people running either side, getting out of the way.
Oh my God!
Here's what goes wrong.
The last thing that I remember is reaching for the emergency release cord and following my hand out into space.
The balloon takes off. There's no turning back for the other trainee. He flies for 10 miles before he finally figures out how to land. Brian has an injured back, but within a month, he's fully recovered. Despite their harrowing ordeal, the two students don't lose their love for flying or their sense of humor.
We actually would have come in second if it wasn't for the fact that we were disqualified for illegally discharging a passenger.
Brevard, Florida, a police chopper pursues a reckless driver.
He's going through the grass.
He's a lethal threat, barreling through a family neighborhood.
I got a white vehicle, SUV, full size, just ran through everybody's lawns over here, crashed the gate, run through yards.
The driver hits the interstate, heading toward the city. He thinks he's making a getaway. But the eye in the sky never blinks.
When you're sitting in a helicopter watching that, you kind of say to yourself, what would possess a human being to do something so stupid? And he's still driving like a maniac, so he's putting a lot of people in danger.
He's caught up in traffic over here.
The driver hits city traffic. Officers make their move to box him in. But the desperate driver won't be stopped so easily.
He's trying to run over. He's trying to hit the cruiser.
He weaves and crashes right through their roadblock. He careens into a U-turn and almost flattens Deputy Jonathan Kent, who's standing in the road.
If he's willing to run over a police officer, he'll do anything and everything to get away, including killing innocent bystanders.
The deputy jumps in his car and joins the chase. He's in hot pursuit as the suspect slams across the median.
Okay, I got him. Do what you got to do. That's like
He hits a dead end, but keeps going. It's his final mistake.
He's in the canal. Better send an ambulance. He's upside down in the canal.
The SUV plunges down the embankment and flips into the water.
I exited my patrol unit, began running to the edge of the canal, thinking that he was going to be injured and unable to continue fleeing.
But the suspect surprises them all.
Number 2. Well, he's coming out the window. He's running on foot. Okay, foot chase towards 192 through the neighborhood here.
Deputy Kent is hot on his trail.
There's no way this guy's going to get away from me, not after everything he's put not only myself through, but the innocent citizens around him. So I made the decision at that point that gentleman was going to jail that day.
There's an officer right behind him. The officer's going to catch him. The officer's on foot behind him, starting to catch up.
2009.
The deputy hits him with a flying tackle.
Good job. Excellent job.
He handcuffs the suspect and waits for backup. Turns out the driver is intoxicated, but he'll sober up when he hears the charges.
We have a motto at the sheriff's office: if you run, you only go to jail tired.
Good job. Excellent job.
Manila, Philippines. A savage inferno engulfs an entire block of row houses. Firefighters believe everyone's evacuated. But then, horror. From behind the smoke and embers, anguished cries for help. A mother and daughter are trapped on the roof, choking in a deadly cloud of black smoke. But firefighters can't save them until a ladder truck arrives. They douse the women with water to keep the flames at bay. And then, the mother and daughter disappear. The truck arrives. Firefighters charge up the ladder into the blinding smoke. Then, a miraculous discovery. Both mother and child are alive. Had the ladder truck not arrived when it did, they might have been lost for good. Tepec, Mexico. A cowboy named Pero is out of the gate on the ride of his life. The bull bucks violently. Pero stays in the saddle. Suddenly, the cowboy loses his grip. The beast slams his head into a gate. Wranglers tried to distract the bull. Then, a gruesome turn. Pero's leg is twisted backward. He can't get free. The rider is crushed beneath the animal's full weight. Watch again. Pero dangles gamely, trying to stay with the rampaging animal. But his twisted legs are still wrapped around the bull. It crashes down on top of him. And he's powerless to escape. A team of wranglers finally frees him. In bull riding, there are no points awarded for pain. Otherwise, Pero would have walked away with the grand prize.
Next, a city bus erupts in flames, trapping helpless passengers in a blistering inferno. And a speeding taxi hits a patch of black ice and flies out of control. Plus, a drunk driver plows into a gas pump, lighting up the night in a ferocious fireball. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Rio Grande, Brazil. A bus catches fire. The only exit is blocked by flames. 28 passengers are trapped. Bystanders punch out windows with their bare hands. They battle blistering heat and smoke to try and reach desperate passengers. One woman is caught between life and death. They try to pull her out, but she's stuck. She leans forward. They pull. Finally, she squeezes through. Fire crews arrive, but it's too late. In under 3 minutes, the entire bus has become a searing fireball. Yet miraculously, all the passengers make it out alive. It's all thanks to everyday heroes, civilians who risked it all for the sake of others. Newton, Iowa. A security camera records workers removing a scaffold from a newly built wall. Blake Hoffmeister and his co-worker Chris Bash are on the top level. Mike Farmer is below. Without warning, the wall begins to tilt.
I realized something wasn't right, so I turned and told my guys, get out of the way, here comes the wall.
28,000 pounds of cinder block come crashing down. Blake is thrown clear of the mess.
I just took one big jump and hope to God I got out of the way.
Chris and Mike aren't so lucky. They're directly under the concrete avalanche.
And as soon as I hit, I was afraid of seeing somebody dead. Chris was laying on his back on top of some plank and scaffold and looked at Mike, and there he is. He's trapped under the wall.
Chris is atop the rubble. He'll be okay. But Mike is in real trouble. There he is as the wall comes down. Now he's under the cinder block wreckage, conscious but stuck.
I asked him what I could do, well, get the wall off me, he said. So we started pulling block off and pulled him out.
Amazingly, Mike suffers only a broken leg. A recent rain has soaked the ground. When the wall comes down, Mike is pushed into the soft mud.
It cushioned his blow and, kept him from losing his legs.
In the hospital, Mike still can't believe he survived.
It happened so fast, I didn't even know it was happening. I heard somebody yell, and then I remember being pinned. I was facing away, and I knew I was stuck under there, and I asked them to get me free. More pain than I've ever been in before in my life.
On this day, nothing is lost that can't be rebuilt.
What I remember most is how close I was to losing a real good friend.
I think somebody was definitely looking out for me that day. Yeah, I suppose I was lucky. That's all I can say about it.
Istanbul, Turkey. A news cameraman documents danger on an icy stretch of road. He captures a few minor collisions. Taxi drivers in too much of a rush. And then a taxi goes into a wild skid and crashes over the center divider. It charges into oncoming traffic, straight toward another speeding cab. They nearly crash head-on. The runaway ride ends with a brutal jolt. The cameraman and bystanders run over to help. They find the cabbie on his feet. He's obviously hurt. Fortunately, he wasn't carrying any passengers on this cab ride to disaster.
Coming up, flash floods turn rush hour gridlock into a roiling death trap. Plus, a passenger jet makes a crash landing. Can everyone get out before it explodes? And later, a muscle car goes airborne and flips out on the track. As the world's most amazing videos continues.
Sao Paulo, Brazil. A massive storm rolls into the city. Flash floods fill the streets in less than an hour. And it's rush hour. Dozens of cars and people are trapped as the waters rise. One group of drivers struggles uphill. But it's like trying to climb a waterfall. Orlando Cardenas scrambles onto his roof. Then he hears a scream. There's a woman trapped inside that red car. And it's filling with water. Orlando risks his own life and tries to save hers. With the help of other drivers, Orlando pulls her to safety. The rain stops and the waters recede. There are many heroes and no lives lost on the day crowded streets became raging waters. Kid remain. A man fills up at the gas pump while his wife waits in the car. Both are eager to get home. But then a pickup truck pulls up. That's a drunk driver. He plows into the pump, setting off a fearsome blast. The man rushes over and yells to alert his wife. Then he runs for safety. But the wife can't get out. Her seatbelt is stuck. She opens the door. She's blasted with fire. Finally, she dashes out seconds before the family sedan is incinerated. It's a narrow escape. And there's more to the picture. After the truck crashes, the drunk driver backs up and takes off. Fortunately, this reckless hit and run didn't cost the couple their lives. Shanghai, China. That light in the sky is a wide-body jet with 137 passengers on board. It's coming in for a landing, and it's in big trouble. The landing gear's stuck. The wheels won't come down. The pilot must bring the plane down. A belly landing is the only way. The fuel tanks are loaded. The jet hits the tarmac, and a burst of white-hot light lights the night. Finally, the jet stops. The fire doesn't. The jet could explode at any moment. Fire crews shoot a blizzard of fire retardant foam onto the fuselage. Frightened passengers scramble to safety. In the end, everyone survives the terror on the tarmac. Thanks to swift action on the ground and steel nerves in the air.
Up next, a drag strip daredevil pops a wheelie and flips into a crushing barrel roll. When the world's most amazing videos continues.
Byron, Illinois. A big crowd cheers competitors at the World Power Wheel Standing Championship. Drivers compete in 4 categories: highest wheelie, longest, most photogenic, and the crowd favorite, most violent. Driver Jason Schubert feels confident as he approaches the starting line.
Basically, it's how far we have the front end in the air. We're trying to run as much distance as we can. Our first attempt, the car pulled a little bit to the left, and I was a little concerned about that.
Jason gets ready for his second run. This time, he expects perfection. Instead, he gets destruction.
I was going about 100 miles an hour on the back wheels, and the car turned sideways on the driver's side. Felt like somebody body slammed me on the ground. Just in disbelief. It's like, how this happened? It was so quick, there was no warning to it. I was just hoping that I could survive this thing.
Jason's trapped inside, upside down. Emergency crews rush to help. Jason releases his harness and pulls himself free.
After I got out of the car, I could hear the fans and everybody hollering and screaming. That was pretty cool.
He escapes with only minor injuries. But Jason didn't come away empty-handed. His destructive performance is judged most photogenic and, of course, most violent.
These are the incredible true stories of real people who looked death in the eye and survived. Join us next time for more of the world's most amazing videos.